Good day, viewers. Pwalpar here. Today is going to be a very unusual vlog for me today. The time right now is 12:30 at midnight, 30 minutes after midnight. And I'm just now getting around to doing a bit of a vlog, but today was very strange. I'm going to entitle today's vlog Was Today a Miracle or a Tragedy, or something along that line. I kind of tend to believe it was divine intervention, and I'm going to share a story with you. I haven't took the time to write it down. I just want to tell it while it's still fresh in my memory. I've been gone all day, so I might as well just start off with telling you what happened today, and you decide if today's incident was a miracle, divine intervention, or just a tragic thing that happened. And without further ado, here I go. This morning, I got up. I slept in a little late. She wanted to go shopping, contrary to Mary did. Well, I said, let's go shopping. I got my shoes on, my hat, and off we went to go shopping. We went to a post office and mailed off the water bill. Went down to Ollie's and bought some goodies in there. Went to the grocery store. She had a list of things she needed. And as usual, we walked around the store buying stuff we didn't need. We bought $300 worth of stuff. And the whole time we were in there, she was having trouble walking and saying she didn't feel good. And I said, well, let's just go. No, we got to get through shopping. She managed to get through with the shopping. We went up and checked out. And when we got to the car, I said, you go sit in the car. And she did. I said, I'll go do groceries. And I didn't know how bad off she was really feeling. So we're driving home. But she said, I'm going home. I'm not stopping nowhere else. And she likes to drive. She likes to be the one driving, and I didn't argue with her. We're driving down the road. And what happened is what I think was divine intervention, and I'll explain before I'm through talking. It was really tragic the way things turned out. How do I explain this? We're going through the city of Griffin, Georgia, and just as you pass the Dairy Queen, the road turns into a 4-lane highway. Traffic speeds up to about 70 miles, 65, 70 miles an hour, and people just fly down that road like it's an expressway or something. Well, as we was going by the Dairy Queen, I said, pull in this Dairy Queen. You've been wanting a milkshake. I'll get us a milkshake. Okay, she said, I'd rather have a Blizzard. I said, okay, I'll go in there and get us a Blizzard. We pulled around the building to the Dairy Queen in Griffin. There's 2 different Dairy Queens here. It's one on Memorial Drive. Well, we got to a parking place right there by the front door. And she was pulling the car into the parking place. And I was looking to I had my seatbelt undone, fixing to get out of the car as soon as she stopped and go in and buy the Blizzard. Well, the next thing I know, the car was running like 9,000 RPMs. She had passed out. She was out cold. And the car surged from about 2 miles an hour, and we were 20, 30 feet away from the building to the Dairy Queen. Her foot went on the gas pedal and jammed the gas pedal all the way to the floor. In that little Ford Expedition, I ain't got no room to turn around. I didn't even have time to reach over and grab the emergency brake. But I looked at her, and she was completely passed out. Her head was back. She was leaned up against the car door, and I thought she had had a heart attack. It very well may have been, but she's still at the hospital. That's why I'm 12:30 at night, just now getting home. I didn't have any way to get home because the only car we had driving was been towed off by to a service, someplace where they park wrecked cars. But she smashed into the building. We went over a curb and it bounced. And when it did, we were airborne when we hit the side of the Dairy Queen. We hit the Dairy Queen dead on. and it wasn't no easy lick. I swear, it shook the whole building. Why the wall didn't fall down, I don't know. Well, when we bounced back and landed back in the curb, our foot's still on the gas, and the car's going again. But it turned. The steering wheel was turned, and it turned, and we went down the side of the building and hit at another location towards the back of the building. I'll include a photo, the only one I took before I left the scene. Now, I couldn't go to the car. Remember, the car was full of groceries, and I couldn't get out of the car. I was pinned up against the side of the building. So I couldn't get out the passenger side door, and she's over there passed out cold. I reached over and let the electric window down on the button. By then, somebody was at the car door. 2 men were at the car door. I said, pull her out of here, because I could smell gas. What she had done was run over the meter, knocked the meter off the side of the building that supplies gas to the Dairy Queen. And it didn't just knock the meter off, it broke the pipe off at the ground. So here I am sitting in a car with gas, natural gas or propane, I don't know, I think it's probably natural gas. But you could smell the mercaptan, that's the chemical in gas. And I knew right away we were in some kind of trouble. This thing might blow up, so I hollered, pull her out of here, get her out. But I couldn't get out my side, so with my bad leg, and it's so cramped up in that expedition, I'm trying to climb over the hump in the middle. I finally got my good leg over. Then I had to get up on my knees and kind of work my way out of that car. I handed one of the guys outside my cell phone, and he laid it up on top of the car. I didn't see him put it up there. And then, where to go? By the time I got out, 2 ladies from inside Dairy Queen had her sitting in 2 wooden chairs that they had brought out, and they were keeping her upright in the chair, and she was starting to come to, and she was just as pale as a ghost. And I thought it was like a heart attack, because I didn't really know what it was. And I told her, I was trying to comfort her and talk to her, and I told the lady at the Dairy Queen, I said, here we are, got a whole load of groceries in the back of that car. She said, we'll take care of that. But they didn't, because I'll get to that portion in a minute. Anyway, finally the fire truck comes, and the fire truck can't shut off the gas because it's spewing out from the ground. And they got the fire hoses out and stood there ready to squirt the car if it blows up. I had shut off the engine that was racing 90 miles an hour when I climbed out. And it's been one heck of a day, I'm telling you. They brought an ambulance, put her in the side of the ambulance, and she's stubborn. I've been telling her, because she didn't feel good, I've been telling her for some time to go see the doctor. And she gets downright argumentative and said, no, I'm not going to no doctor. I can't make her go. I sure tried. Anyway, she was in the back of the ambulance refusing to go. And the ambulance driver come up there and told me they had already said I could ride in the front of the ambulance with them when they go. And I had just climbed into the ambulance, and he come up there and said, sir, Mr. Parks, we can't take her if she keeps refusing service, not wanting to go. And I said, let me go back there and talk to her. And I went up in the back of the ambulance. They had a side door you could climb in. Went in there and sat down and told her, you're going to the doctor. No, I'm going home. I'm going home. And she was, she was really out of it, scared, I know. She was upset. And I said, look, I just think it's something to convince her to go. I said, I don't think our insurance will even cover it if you refuse service. You're going. And we need to find out what happened anyway. So I finally convinced her into going. The paramedic said, what would you do if it was one of your children? Wouldn't you convince them to go? She said, what would you convince them to do? And she said, go to the hospital. Well, that's where you're going, to the hospital, if you'll agree. And finally she said, okay. But she was really adamant about wanting to go home. I said, we can't go home. The car's all tore up. And we got her in the ambulance. And as I was leaving, I reached and took one picture. I couldn't get close because they wouldn't let me go back over there to the car. They had evacuated the whole area. And the part, when you see the photo, all the fire trucks and ambulances and police cars are behind me. And I was climbing in front of the ambulance when I took that picture. I was going to take some more, but the sun was so bright and I had lost my glasses in the wreck somewhere. I didn't know where my glasses was. But I did manage to get one usable photograph. Anyway, as we left, the fireman said, "We'll take care of your groceries." They were all the way from Williamson, Georgia. Why? They sent a fire truck from Williamson, Georgia, which is, I don't know, 10, 12 miles down the road, instead of coming with the city of Griffin fire truck. I don't know. But they came with this big red fire truck and got out there, and the car was still up against the building with gas spewing all underneath it. When we left to go to the hospital, the car did finally get pulled out. As I was driving out, the city policeman gave me his business card with a case number on it as we were driving by, and got down to the hospital. They took her on inside the hospital. They wouldn't let me go in right away. I know I've left out part of this story, but oh yeah, I was concerned about the groceries. But they wouldn't let me go in. I had to sit outside in the waiting room at the emergency room while they decided what they were going to do. What I didn't know was they had already took her in for a CAT scan, and they were scanning her, so that took 30, 40 minutes. In the meantime, I called Allstate Insurance Company, and finally I didn't have a number, and I didn't have my glasses, but I looked at the app we got on the phone, and there was a policeman there that read the phone number off for me. I said, "I can't read this app." And he wrote the number down for me. In fact, he dialed it for me with my cell phone. And then when I got the insurance company on the phone, it was a machine. I'm sitting in the waiting room at the emergency room getting all frustrated. I said, "No, I don't want to talk to a machine. Let me talk to a person." I know I was getting pretty loud in there. And "Are you calling about a crack in your windshield? Do you need to report a broke window?" I said, "No, I want to report an accident." And finally I said, "Let me talk to a person." Well, they disconnected me. I went over there and got that policeman to call me again. And he called and finally got through to a person again. I said, "Don't you hang up on me. I'm trying to get us to report my car in an accident." And he asked me a million questions. I finally got the accident reported. And by that time, it was 30, 40 minutes. Went over to the desk and got her all checked into the hospital. Finally, they said I could come back there. Now, they've done an MRI on her. They said they're going to keep her for 24 hours for observation. But she was back to her old chatty self, and her blood pressure dropped way off. She was dehydrated, and she's trying to lay it off on that. And they said, "No, there's something else wrong." And I don't know if it was her heart or what. They found fluid in her lungs. When I left, they was doing an MRI. I stayed till 11 o'clock at night, and my daughter was going to call me an Uber and have an Uber come and get me. But there ain't no Uber service in this town or a taxi service in this town that's available. So I called one of my neighbors, a good friend down the road, and he came and got me and took me home. And I'm just getting around to reporting this. Now, I don't know if I'll get this posted tonight or tomorrow or whatever, but eventually y'all will see this video. And I'd like you to decide, was it a tragedy or was it a miracle? Now let me explain. When you pass that Dairy Queen, the road goes from 35, 40 mile an hour traffic to 70 mile an hour traffic is what everybody's driving. It's really 60 or 65. Now, if I had said, "Let's go in here and get a milkshake," we would have been going down the road 70 miles an hour, and I would have been stuck in that car with her passed out and the gas pedal jammed all the way to the floor, and I'm downright positive we'd have been wrapped around a telephone pole somewhere. I guarantee you somebody upstairs was looking out for us today. Now, it's bad that the car got tore up, and I don't really know how bad the car is. I don't even know which body shop it's going to wind up. Right now it's at Curry's Automotive out there in the, West Griffin, but I think it's going to be going to a different Allstate shop. Called the insurance company and they said, well, I said, we're going to need a rental car. I need a car to drive. My pickup truck is a piece of junk and I don't have a drivable car. Well, your insurance policy will cover $20 a day on a car. It turns out that Enterprise cars, who they use in Griffin, cheapest car they have for the day is $28 a day. I said, well, I'll pay the difference. And, well, I can't give you a car until Monday. So you come down here at 9 o'clock on Monday, and we'll fix you right up with a car. As long as you pay me $50 down, and we'll return the $50 when you come back. And the insurance man said, I know there's going to be some claims from the Dairy Queen, but the insurance man said that we're covered for $50,000 damage to other people's property. Well, if it gets over $50,000, they can wish in one hand and want in the other one. That's all they're getting from me. You can't get blood out of a turnip. Anyway, we're fortunate that we're fully covered, basically fully covered. I'm sure there are better policies you can get, but we have collision and liability with Allstate. I got so aggravated that that phone machine called me up, said, be sure to have your policy number on hand or we'll fix your windshield. I said, you're going to look me up on your computer. I'm going to give you my name, and you're going to look up my account number yourself. I can't even read the letters on this phone, let alone tell you my policy number. You look me up, and he finally looked me up, and he said, what's the address of the Dairy Queen? I said, well, there ain't but two in Griffin. Take your pick. It's the one on Memorial Drive. And he looked it up online, I guess, and found the address. So that's all been reported, and the accident has been fully reported. We just got to wait to see about getting her car fixed, see if it's fixable. If not, we'll just go buy a new car, I guess. In the meantime, I told her, you're not going to drive me nowhere from now on. I'm going to be driving for a while. But she likes to be the one driving. Hopefully we'll find out what's wrong with her. I've carried on enough with this video, and it's probably way too long. But I just wanted to let you know, my viewers know what was going on. And I want you to decide, was it divine intervention or just a tragic situation? I fully believe somebody upstairs was looking after us. I really do. Anyway, it's Pwalpar. Wishing everybody a good weekend. Y'all take care, and I'll keep you informed on what's going on. Good day.